We're doing this live Q&A, and my friends, I'm very excited to be on here with you this morning. So if you're able to jump on live here with me, that is fantastic. I look forward to connecting with you. If not, I do have some questions that over the course of the last week or so, I've covered with my one-on-one meetings that I have with clients. So we call them compass meetings, where we figure out, where they're at with their business, where they'd love to go, and what type of marketing strategies can help them get there. So I pull questions from those meetings. I have pull questions just from you guys and you asking questions. So I get them through Messenger and I get them by email as well with questions for this Q&A session. We're going to dive in. Now, before we do that, I just want to address one quick thing here. If you're here because you're building a business, right? You are building an entrepreneurial opportunity for yourself, a venture for yourself. And here's the thing I want to point out is that one of your chief goals as an entrepreneur is to make the world a better place. I know that might sound kind of cliche, but ultimately, you guys, the whole objective, the whole reason that we're here is to make the world a better place, to solve problems for people, to make the world more beautiful, to make it simpler and easier, to solve pain, to help people overcome challenges. And so everything that we talk about in a marketing or sales perspective, everything we talk about from a business evolution perspective, really, this all comes back down to you understanding what the purpose of your company is, what the chief aim, what the chief direction, what that big thing it is that you solve. Because when you lean into that, when you have a profound understanding of that, a lot of the other elements of your company come a lot easier and a lot simpler. And, I was on a call this morning. So I'm part of the Napoleon Hill Institute. Many of you know that. And we were doing our daily study call this morning. And the guy who was doing the presentation was fantastic. Congratulations, Ahmed. You were amazing today. And he was talking about just doing things with ease, doing things simply, finding the easy way. And not that it's not hard. It's what he's getting at is just approaching life with ease. Why does everything have to be difficult? Why does it have to be challenging? Why does it have to be complicated or hard? And it was a real profound shift for me to go, right, we have to remind each other. So I'm reminding you, you need to remind me that life doesn't have to be difficult. You will face challenges. You'll face obstacles. You'll face things that are going to get in the way of you achieving your goal. That's normal, but it doesn't have to be hard. Will it take work? Sure, it takes work, but it doesn't have to be hard. I myself personally have had this built-in default setting in my hard wiring in my brain that says great things must be difficult. And I think great things require overcoming great challenges, but you can do it with ease. You can do it in a way that is in flow. And I know that might be a little woo-woo for some of you, but I just wanted to address that really quick before we dive into these questions, that any of what I'm talking about today, any of what I've talked about in the past, what I'll talk about in the future, I'm going to encourage myself to look back on it. And I'm going to encourage myself, and I encourage you to attack these problems with ease. Pursue them with a sense of peace and a sense of calmness that allows you to see the best possible solution. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you guys, and a little bit of a soapbox moment is for you. Okay, our first question for the Marketing Wizards Inner Circle Q&A here is from Cynthia, and she asked, does cold messaging on Facebook work? Okay. Does cold messaging on Facebook work? The simple answer is yes, absolutely it does. There's lots of companies that use it. I have not used it myself recently, but there are ways in which you do it that make sense, and there's ways in which you do it and you make people mad. So if you are going to cold message people from Facebook groups, or you're reaching out just to cold prospects via Facebook, or people who are maybe lukewarm, like they just friended you or you just friended them, something like that. If you're using, or any messenger, like this could be Instagram direct message, this could be any messenger you want to use. This could be on TikTok, any type of social media messaging, LinkedIn, doesn't matter. When you're cold messaging somebody, if you do what I received a couple days ago, which was a friend request from somebody, and I knew a bunch of people that they knew. There was like 34, 45 people that we knew in common. So it's like, okay, this is a legitimate person, I'll say it. And they immediately jump in my inbox and they literally vomit their offer all over my inbox. Like they're just like, right? They just bury my messenger in all of these details, right? Hey, great to meet you. And then, right? It took me several scrolls just to get through that. This is how much information she dumped on me. Several scrolls just to simply get through that initial message, offering me something. And the thing I want to point out, my friends, is that is a very efficient way. It's a very efficient way of going through hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of prospects very quickly. Let's figure out who's interested. And you just basically do that, okay? But it doesn't create relationship. It doesn't create trust. It doesn't create a bond. And there's a whole bunch of people that might actually be interested in the service that are completely put off by the way in which they were approached. The role of cold calling is to trigger a relationship, to trigger a level of just like a tiny bit of trust exchange that then builds over time, right? It's not to sort through as fast as possible anybody who might be interested. That's not the way social media works, right? You're burning through hundreds, thousands of prospects that way that you don't necessarily need to burn through. And you're just doing actions that don't necessarily produce the same type of results as you really, really want. So if you're going to cold message, here's one of the tips that I would give you. Look at their pages, okay? Whatever social media tool you want to use. Cynthia was asking about Facebook. So look at her Facebook page. Look at their Facebook page, Cynthia. Look at their business page. Pick out a piece of content that you like. And when you reach out, you can say, hey, great meeting you. Took a look at your page. Love this particular piece, right? Are you in business to do X, Y, Z? You've complimented them and you've prompted them with a question. That takes a little more work. It takes an extra 90 seconds of time. Yes, it does. Than just pure copy pasting. It does. I'm not going to lie to you. But if you want to create a good relationship, if you want people to look, and this is especially true if you're using your personal profile or your personal business page to grow your audience and to reach out and do these cold Facebook or Instagram or TikTok messages. Like if you're using your own stuff to do it, it's critical. You don't want to be looked at as a jerk. You don't want to have people come along and say, no, I would never do business with this person. They did X, Y, Z, or unfriend you or anything like that. You want to be building relationships, building trust. So I encourage you, check out what they're doing and pay them a small compliment before you dive into whatever it is you want to pitch, and ask them a question. Are you in business for this? Like find out a little bit more. I might have been interested in this person's offer had they simply said, are you a consultant? Right? It looks like you're a consultant. How long have you been in business? Easy question. And then you start building a relationship with me. Fastest way to get somebody to pay attention to you, ask them questions about themselves. Most people love talking about themselves. So to answer your question, Cynthia, cold messaging absolutely works. It's a very powerful tool, but I would ensure that you follow a pattern that is establishing a relationship first, paying them a compliment, getting a little bit of good rapport going. Or if you're having a team of appointment setters, anything like that, going about doing this for you, if you've got people that are out there and they're doing it for you, then please make sure that you're giving them a script and you're giving them a recipe that allows them to go in and say, hey, right? I love this little piece of content you did, really, really great. Or I love this post about so-and-so, right? And then move forward with any type of questions they have about their business. You want qualified leads to come from your cold messaging. You don't want people just literally dropping the phone. Nobody loves to be sold to, but people love to buy. Remember that. And in order to buy, they have to trust you, they have to know you, they've got to like you, and they have to believe that you have something that they're actually going to help them move forward in their lives. Okay. Next question. This was from my friend Michelle. She said, how much time should I spend on my content every week? Specifically, she was like, how much time should my content take every week? But one and the same kind of thing. So one of the things that I want to encourage you to think about, Michelle, is that your content itself is the top end of the engine, right? That is going to power up your lead magnet, right? Now, when I say lead magnet, I mean any type of attraction mechanism that you're using. Your content could be your lead magnet, that's fine. But the content's the thing that fires it up. So there's a direct correlation between how much good content you put together and how many leads you get. Direct correlation, especially when you lay that out over time, right? Especially when you layer in piece after piece after piece, building trust, building relationship, building authority, building credibility. When you layer in those things, right? Like Gary Vee talks about, jab, 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 right hook, right? Great book. When you layer in those pieces and you keep building those elements, your content is attracting, then nurturing, then building authority and putting you in a position to solve their challenge within the framework of what it is that you do. So how much content should you make or how much time should you spend on it? To me, I think there's a big part of that based on what type of content you want to produce. And we're going to talk about this in my next question, but short form video is phenomenal for this, which kind of answers my next question that I got. But Michelle, I would put in anywhere between 2 and 4 hours a week of content creation. That's what I would do. And I would batch it. So for me, I like to put out anywhere between 5 and 10 pieces of content every single day between all the different platforms that I'm on. So between LinkedIn and YouTube and TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, those are the 5 social media platforms that I use on a regular basis. LinkedIn, not as much regular, but I want to get there. Those are the ones. And so I'm putting out a minimum of 1 piece of content every single day on each platform, minimum. So that's 5 right there. Quite often I'm putting out 2 or 3 on each platform right there. So it's quite easy to get up to that 7 to 10 pieces of content mark every single day. When you lay that out, that's like 70 pieces of content a week. That's a lot that you're layering in there. I mean, some people would be like, man, I want to do 50 a day or whatever, but that's up to them. But the point is that your content should take you a few hours every single day or every single week and batch it together. So when you batch your content together, it allows you to get into a rhythm. It allows you to be far more efficient. It allows you to also, the thing that I have found in batching, I can see the through line of my content easier. You know what I mean? Like I can see what my video for Monday is going to feed into my video for Tuesday, feed into my video for Wednesday. Like I can see the through line when I batch them together because I'm already in the right headspace. Like I'm already going, okay, I'm talking about, lead generation on Monday. I can do a little sales thing on Tuesday and refer back to my Monday. Like you can move through your content that way in a really streamlined fashion. And I find personally for me, it's really effective at helping me stay focused on what I want the overall message of my content to be. Okay. So it's not just about volume. It's also about messaging. And when I bulk my content. Oh boy. When I batch my content. Oh, jeez. Oh, boy. Okay, when I batch my content, when I batch it, I tend to stay on message, on brand, on theme more effectively than when I don't. And that to me helps me build momentum, and it helps me be more concise. I don't feel like I'm starting every day again with a brand new slate of content, right? So, because I'm bulging them together. So Michelle, I would spend 2 to 4 hours. That may seem like a lot of time to you. That might not seem like very much. And then if I was in your shoes, I know where Michelle's business is at, I would encourage you to find someone who posts it for you. We can get really trapped on social media apps and networks and blah, 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 because we go to post and then there's also the stuff that captures our attention in news feeds and everything else. To me, those types of things are something that can be pre-scheduled and everything else. And you can either use a scheduling tool so you don't get buried in the social media app itself, or, hiring virtual assistants for that type of work is a really good use of resources. How much time should my content take? It's most small business owners, it's 2 to 4 hours, and batch them together, bulge it together. So it's nice and efficient for you and stays on brand, on theme, and on message. Okay, question number 3. Is short form video really worth it? Is what David asked me. Now, David's question was longer. He went on to talk about how it seems like a lot of work to produce like a 45-second video and that's going to be watched just for one day. And I used to feel the exact same way. I used to feel like, oh my gosh, short form content. My wife would be on TikTok. She'd be loving it. And I'd be watching some of these TikToks over her shoulder. And I'd be like, God, there's a lot of work that goes into these. Like there's, 30, 40 minutes of editing, maybe an hour worth of editing work that goes into these things. There's the filming of different angles of stuff. Like there's a lot that goes into these TikToks. And I thought for a 45-second video, and you're spending an hour to an hour and a half between the filming of the video, the editing of the video, the creativity behind what the video is going to be about, all of these things. I thought, man, that is a lot of time exchange for a 45-second clip. Like that doesn't seem to equal out to me. But one of my mentors pointed out to me, and this was about maybe 4 or 5 months ago, because I was having the same struggle. He said to me, Michael, it's not about that single video. Remember, the power and the value of social media is not the video itself. I kept thinking about the actual video when what I need to be thinking about and not concerned about, but what excited about is the audience. And that shifted everything for me. It shifted everything for me. What I realized was that, right, I'm not producing a 45-second video that's going to blow someone's socks off and change their life forever. I mean, if I do that, fantastic. But that's not the point. The point is to create an audience that is interested and that's paying attention to what it is that I'm all about, what it is I'm solving, the problems I help you with, and what I'm doing. That's the whole point of building a social media tribe. It's the audience, it's the tribe, it's not the video. And he said, so you're not spending an hour and a half on a video. You're spending an hour and a half building your tribe. And that made perfect sense to me. You're spending an hour and a half cultivating, creating an audience, David. You're spending an hour and a half nurturing and guiding and bringing value to a group of people that want the solutions that your company provides. You're not spending an hour and a half on a video. The video just happens to be the tool that you're doing. That just happens to be what you're doing it through. But the real power is in the aggregation of an audience that's hungry and thirsty. That's why I went from posting once or twice a week in my social media platforms to posting 5-6 times, a day, because I realized it was about the power of the audience. It's not about the actual posts. And when that shifted for me, David, I went all in on short form video, and it's been super helpful. In fact, it's one of the main core products that Time Media, my company, actually provides for businesses now, because I see how powerful it is short form video. We have a product called 30 in 30. It's 30 videos that we launch for you in 30 days. And ultimately that whole product bundle is around helping you establish a rhythm and a level of trust and omnipresence for your audience at the most efficient way for you possible. And so short form video is a very potent, very powerful tool to help you aggregate that audience. So is it worth it, David? Abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely. It's worth it in a massive, massive way. Now, to make it worth it, you need to have a good offer that you're providing. You need to have some strategy behind what's going on. I would encourage you to have, I've talked about this before, but have a campaign calendar for your year booked out, so you know when your big promotional events are happening, and you can gear your all of your social media stuff around that. So have a strategy in place, right? Have your messaging on tack, have a good offer that you want to make people. These are things that make your short form video more potent for your wallet, help it be more impactful for an audience. But ultimately, short form video is an incredibly powerful tool, and most of the social media apps for the next several years will lean into it. TikTok showed us that it works. So YouTube Shorts picked it up, and they've been really powerful. And now Facebook and Instagram Reels are incredibly valuable. So that is exactly where I would lean into my content production. So piggybacking on Michelle's question about how much time should I spend on content, Michelle, I would spend 2 to 4 hours a week building short form video content. And then I would find a company like mine or whomever and get them to be posting it all and editing it all for me. That's exactly what I would. Okay, great question, David. So final question for today from Doug. He says, what's the difference between marketing tactics and marketing strategy? Okay, tactic is Facebook ads. A strategy is educate and build trust. A tactic would be doing a blog or doing a video blog. The strategy would be delivering valuable information to our clients so they can make a better decision. Very similar to the build trust and stuff. A strategy would be we want to have these specific promotions, and we want to make sure that they've got all the emails, all the SMS, all the ads, all those things already lined up and ready as we're moving through our year. And our strategy is to be omnipresent in someone's messaging box, on their phone and in their email, so they really understand what promotion we've got going on. That's our strategy, right? Be omnipresent and everywhere for this particular promotion. The tactic would be, okay, what are we going to say in our SMS? A strategy is, in World War II, they needed to take the beaches of Normandy so they could cut the German forces. The Allied forces wanted to cut the German forces in half so that all of the forces on the western side and in France were cut off from the supply lines from Germany itself, and they couldn't get there, right? So that was their overarching strategy, to cut the German forces in half, divide them, and then they could divide and conquer each side specifically. That was the strategy. There was a number of tactics. There was tactics to take each different beach in Normandy. There was tactics to take each different city. So the tactics are the nuanced actions and elements that make up an overarching strategy. When I think about the biggest challenges that I was facing in my life when it came to marketing, is that I kept putting tactics into play and there was no foundational strategy going on. None whatsoever. My strategy was I want to grow my business. But guys, it's not an actual strategy. It's just a fart in the wind desire.
Sorry.
But the fact is that an overarching strategy is a means in which you want to achieve a larger objective, whereas the tactics are the different elements that go into achieving that strategy. And when we first start working with any company, even if they're just buying our 30 and 30 video bundle, for example, one of the first conversations I have with them is, okay, so what's your marketing strategy? And if you don't have one, let's spend 20, 30 minutes talking about what that strategy could be. Because then when you have the right strategy, you can see a way for which any tactic might be able to work. And you can understand how to work each tactic within the sandbox of that strategy, right? So for example, my friend Kelly, who's a client of mine, she's a real estate agent, and she wants to grow her real estate business. She wants to sell more houses. She wants to have a nice, healthy, rhythmic amount of revenue every single year. That's what she wants for her business. Great, cool, awesome. That's the goal. But the real goal is, okay, what's the strategy with which we want to achieve, our first $200,000 in annual revenue? Like, what's the strategy to get there? And when we figured out who her ideal client was, where they like to hang out, right? And how she wanted to connect with them, right? And her strategy was ultimately to build a massive amount of trust and to have her be an indispensable part of the community, right? That was our strategy. Tactically speaking, we put a how to downsize in Langley guidebook into place for her. So there's a physical guidebook that people love, they picked up, they started to use. We recommended she go to specific different events around town where her ideal client, which is a senior that's downsizing, right, where they would be attending. So we gave her a whole list of different events locally that she could go to over the course of a year. We encouraged her and helped her go to a bunch of seniors' homes and different activity, like senior community centers and stuff like that. So she could be omnipresent there and volunteer at those things and all this stuff. So once we knew the strategy, we had some goals in mind for when we wanted to hit the revenue marks to make sure our strategy was working. Then the tactics showed up. The tactics made perfect sense. They layered in beautifully because we knew exactly what we wanted to accomplish and what the overarching strategy was going to be in order to accomplish that thing. So I hope that answers your question, Doug, between what's the difference between a marketing tactic and a marketing strategy. And word of warning to business owners out there, most agencies are going to sell you tactics because they're really good at a specific tactic. I'm the same way. Right? Our media agency is really good at short form video. That's something we're leaning into and we're becoming better and better at it all the time. That is a tactic in a grand strategy, right? Now, when we get hired on as like our fractional CMO offers and we become like the marketing department for a company, we have a far wider conversation. But one of our most popular products is a tactic product, which is short form video. Short form video is a tactic that layers into a grander strategy. So Doug, I hope that answers your question, my friend, on as far as what the difference between tactics and strategies are and what the value of knowing your strategy is in order to implement the right tactics and use each tactic the right way. Like we started off today with Cynthia asking a question about cold messaging. Cold messaging can be a great tactic, but it has to fit into the framework of your grand strategy and you have to do it in the right way for sure, right? Okay, so that is the questions that I have today. I hope you guys get great value out of these Q&As. I'm sorry about the delay in getting the recording right and everything else all set up. And keep updated on my office evolution here as it keeps going and growing. I have switched desks, as some of you may know. So the desk I had bought for the space is behind me. It was too small. So I'm in the process of building a bigger desk, a man desk. So I'm in the process of building a bigger desk. So my office is in a state of flux. But thank you so much for watching, my friends. I hope you got great value out of this today. And I will see you next week again in the Marketing Wizards Inner Circle. All right. Ciao for now, my friends.